Hi there, welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. This is Nicole and it's in the details. Today I'm sharing a Shellabrate Christmas card using these darling turtles from the Shellabrate stamp set, and I'm adorning them with some of the accessories from the stocking stamp set and framing it all up with some of the Lacy Layers and Lacy Layers 2 dies. I am going to go ahead and take a Lacy Layers and Lacy Layers 2 rectangle die, and I'm going to tape them kind of here together on some black cardstock and die cut them both at once. This is going to give me that outer black frame to frame up my little turtle Christmas scene. And I'm just going to run that back and forth a couple times to get a really nice crisp die cut. What I love about these Lacy Layers dies is that there's going to be little accents no matter what you die cut out. So there's all those cute little dot accents. They're a little hard to see on the black cardstock, but it really finishes off the edge of the design. I'm going to take that smaller Lacy Layers 2 die now and die cut that from some smooth white cardstock. This is going to give me that inside piece and that little thin frame for the front of my card, excuse me. I'll go ahead and move my die cut machine out of the way. I'm going to use a powder tool along the bottom edge of my black frame and ink up the Merry Christmas greeting from the stocking stamp set with Versamark ink. Stamp that right there below and sprinkle on a little white embossing powder, tap that off, and I'm going to heat set that. I really love the way white embossing powder pops against a black frame. This is a really wide black frame. I did not make this a shaker design style card, but you could very easily. I think it would be really cute. I will be making mine a little bit dimensional, and I will show you that here in a second. Almost like it's a little fish tank in the center of the card. On that inside scalloped rectangle, I am taking a Dauber Duo and the Waffle Flower New Fish in Pond ink and inking up this rectangle with my dauber, just kind of gradually building up that color. It's going to be darker near the bottom edge, which is along the right side here. I have it the rectangle tipped to the side, and lighter near the top. This is going to give the illusion of some water, and I find that these daubers almost work better than a different kind of foam applicator tool when working with dye inks like this. Dye inks can tend to be a little tricky. I am trying to use a fairly light hand. I don't want a whole bunch of little circle shaped areas where you can see where the dauber was and where I pushed it into the paper. So anywhere like that, I'm trying to go over it a little bit and smooth it out. For this particular card, the circle look isn't as bad since I want this to appear to be water. But I'm just going to keep inking this up, keep applying the ink until I get it to exactly the way I want it to look. To reuse these daubers, I would recommend maybe putting a little label on them, you know, with a maybe WF and then New Fish in Pond. That way you don't have to go look for a new one anytime that you want to do some sort of inking. You can just keep all of these in a little dauber case and they will be handy when you need them. Because that's a dye ink, it will kind of smooth out once the ink is absorbed into the paper. I'm going to set that aside and stamp two of the turtles from Shellabrate on some smooth white cardstock using a black ink for Copic coloring. I will also be stamping the little seaweed image from Shellabrate. I'll stamp that several times. I think I'm going to end up using all 4 of the images that I stamp here with that. Gives a nice full look along the bottom edge of what I'm kind of going to refer to as my fish tank. Once I have that, I'm going to take some candy canes and some of the gift boxes and Santa hat from the stocking stamp set and I'm going to ink those up as well. I love that these accessories work with so many of the different Waffle Flower stamp sets, the little critters and such. You can create all kinds of different scenes with these simply by just adding some of the embellishments or accents or accessories from that to different animals. So even though Shellabrate is more a birthday themed stamp set, you can very easily make it Christmas just with a few accessories. I'm going to color in my turtles here with some shades of green, and I went with a little bit more of an olive color of green color combination with YG 93, 95, and 99. That is for the body of the turtle. A little R20 for the cheek to give it just a little bit of a whimsical look. These are kind of fun, whimsical images. I'll do the same thing for the smaller turtle. Again, smoothing out with my lightest color. I can even go back and do that to the bigger one if I need to. For the turtle shell, I kind of struggled with what I wanted to do here, and I ended up going with a color combination that I don't use a lot but ended up loving, which is E71 and E77. I even took my lightest YG 93 and put a little bit of that in there to give it a tiny bit of a green tint maybe underneath the browns. I'll do that for my smaller turtle as well. And then what I like to do is go in and add some dot detail with my yellow-green markers. It's really going to kind of bring the turtles to life. I'm using my two darkest YG 95 and 99. And then I'm going to move on to coloring the rest of the images. I'm going to use a couple shades of red for the candy canes, along with some very, very light warm grays for the white areas. I'm using R24 and R46. And I'm even incorporating a little R39 for the Santa hat. All three of those for that. I am only showing coloring one of the gift packages here, which is going to be kind of a craft looking gift package with shades of brown with E40, 43, and 44. However, there are actually 3 gift packages. They all use either the red markers or the brown color combination I'm using here. So there's 2 gift packages from the stocking stamp set, and after I got all of these die cut, I really felt like I needed a couple more to round out the design along the bottom edge of my fish tank. I'm going to go ahead and use my same colors of green, only incorporating a little YG 91 into this as well for a little bit lighter look for my seaweed. And then I will die cut all of the images with my Big Shot. So I like to die cut as many of the images with one pass of the machine as possible. There are duplicates of some of the images, the seaweed and the candy cane, so I'm going to have to go ahead and run that through again. Plus I'm going to stamp and color and then die cut the remaining 2 packages for the bottom edge of my fish tank. So once I have this all done, I'm going to add some accents to the seaweed with a white opaque pen. I like to add a little dot detail along those. And originally I had it kind of all laid out here and it was a little hard to maneuver, so I moved all of my seaweed out. And that makes it a lot easier to hold on to those little die cut pieces and add that detail. It's a fun finishing touch. I will do this to all 4 of the seaweed pieces. You could add it to the cheeks on the turtles if you wanted to. All kinds of things. I love my white opaque pens. I'm going to take the bubbles from Shellabrate and stamp those with the New Fish in Pond ink right on the background. And then I'm just going to lay my frames out on a side fold card base, put some adhesive in the center, and use that as a guide to place that center rectangle right on my card base. Then I'm going to fill those bubbles with glossy accents, and I'm going to start putting together the scene or the fish tank. So I'm layering the gift packages, candy canes, my seaweed, all of those things along the bottom edge. And I want some of the seaweed to be in front of the turtle, some to be behind. So I'm going to really work to get all of that so it really looks like cute little turtles in a fish tank or looking through the window at, an aquarium, only it's a Christmas aquarium. Excuse me. I am using a combination of regular glue adhesive and liquid glue adhesive to attach these. I do not always use liquid adhesive, but the candy canes are pretty delicate and it does make it a little bit easier with the liquid adhesive to attach those to my card. I like to put something heavy then on top to hold those images down until the glue dries so that they don't move or shift, so that they lay nice and flat and really are secure to the card base. I did snip off the edges of some of those images because they just hung down so far. I didn't make sure that they were exact, but it does help a little bit to trim off a little of that excess. Now this is my favorite tip for layering frames, and that is to flip them over and use foam adhesive to secure that really teeny tiny thin frame to the larger one. Plus this is going to give some subtle dimension to my card base. It's one layer of foam adhesive. If you wanted to make this a shaker, put some transparency on the back first, and then go ahead and do this same thing with maybe 2 layers of foam adhesive. I'll go ahead and secure that right to my card. And then I decided to put a little adhesive on top of my white frame. And then I'm die cut another frame from some white sparkly cardstock, and it really lends to the Christmas feel of the card. I like how that looks. It's some nice subtle sparkle. This is a white snow marker. I love it. I put it on the tip of the stocking cap and the brim. When you heat set it, it puffs up for some nice dimensional texture. It's so cute on things like this, especially at Christmas time. I'm going to finish by taking a Stardust glitter pen and the white opaque pen and adding little dots in the water. And it's just going to add to that underwater feel of the card design. Thanks for joining me today for this Shellabrate Christmas greeting card. For more product information, please visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week.